Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, July 7th. This is Gina McGuire. Currently, we have no areas of significant fire potential impacts expected for the Great Basin. However, we will continue to see wet thunderstorms across the area, which will create new initial attack. However, the potential for problem large fires is low due to the amount of moisture in place. Thunderstorms that do return to southwest and central Idaho through midweek may increase IA again in those areas after the warm, dry period they've been experiencing. However, moisture will be quickly increasing. As we move towards mid to late week, drier air and breezy winds will begin to move into the southern portions of the Great Basin and spread across especially Nevada Sunday into early next week. Any drying for Utah looks to be fairly brief. Yesterday we had plenty of lightning across the Great Basin. However, some areas of northern Nevada into western Idaho saw less coverage than other areas, but still at least saw some isolated thunderstorms. Rainfall amounts were healthy, especially over areas of southern Nevada into Utah and over western Nevada and southeast Idaho. Flash flooding was reported across Nevada. Looking at the precipitation over the last 7 days, again plenty of rainfall, which has been well above normal over parts of western and central and northern Nevada into southern Utah. However, again over parts of southern and central Idaho, minimal precipitation has occurred over the last week. Looking at the water vapor satellite image from this morning, low pressure off the west coast will continue moving slowly eastward, allowing to push this area of high pressure that's been dominant across the Great Basin east into the southern area of the country. This will allow for decreasing temperatures and still plenty of moisture in place for widespread showers and thunderstorms again today across the Great Basin. This will keep significant fire potential minimal across the area, with the exception of parts of southern and central Idaho, which may see increased initial attack than what they've seen in the recent 7 days due to the increase in lightning. However, moisture will be spreading north in those areas as well. Looking at temperatures today, they'll continue to decline to near or even below average, with highs in the valleys reaching only the 80s and highs in the upper elevations reaching the low 70s. Again today, active weather is expected across the area, with the heaviest areas of wetting rains over the southern half of the Great Basin, which will also likely see some flash flooding and the potential for severe weather. Looking at the National Weather Service threats, there are flash flood watches in effect once again today over parts of the western areas of the Great Basin, and also have been expanded over the southern half of Nevada into northwest Arizona and into parts of Wyoming for this increased chance of flooding rains. Now looking towards Wednesday and Thursday, this area of low pressure now moves further into California, and this will allow for the deeper moisture to spread north into Idaho on Wednesday. However, we might see some drying over far southern Nevada on Wednesday for decreased lightning activity. We will still continue to see lower significant fire potential in most areas due to the deeper moisture. Temperatures will continue to decline to below normal, with now the better chance for wetting rains focused over the northern half of the Great Basin. As we move into Thursday and this area of low pressure starts to open up and move eastward, we may see some of that drying move into northwest Arizona and southern Utah, with the rest of the area still experiencing wet showers and thunderstorms and low fire potential. On Thursday, again, temperatures will continue to decline, with many valley areas only seeing highs in the 70s or near 80 degrees. Showers and thunderstorms are expected in most areas on Thursday, but we'll see some drying over parts of northwest Arizona and the Arizona Strip. Looking at Friday through the early part of next week, this drier air moves into southern Nevada and southern Utah on Friday as the area of low pressure tracks to the northeast, with continued showers and thunderstorms over the northern half of the Great Basin. By Saturday, this drier air moves slightly further north into eastern Nevada and western Utah. However, we're already starting to see some moisture creep back into southeast Utah by Saturday, and by Sunday, this moisture overspreads the eastern half of the Great Basin and still continues over parts of western and northern Nevada into Idaho, with drier air in southern Nevada. By Monday, we see drier air overspread much of the western half of the Great Basin. However, still showers and thunderstorms will continue further east. And now we're starting to see some drying of the fuels as we move through the early part of next week, and drier air remains in place for several days with a slight increase in winds. However, it will still take some time for fuels to dry out in most areas. Now looking at forecast precipitation amounts across the Great Basin. For today through Thursday, which is the image on the left, significant wetting rains in some areas of the Great Basin, especially the Sierra into Nevada, and into parts of northeast Utah and Wyoming. As we move through Friday and Saturday, and the area of low pressure shifts north, the main focus for precipitation will be over the northern half of the Great Basin, with amounts being much lighter than what we're seeing currently. Looking at ERC conditions, we did see a rapid increase in June and July due to the drier conditions that developed. However, now ERCs over the southern two-thirds of the Great Basin have either leveled off or are decreasing due to the moisture in place over the last week. Live fuel moistures, we're seeing mixed readings across the area. In areas that have received more significant moisture, fuel moistures have been increasing. However, there still are many areas over the Great Basin, especially into Idaho, that haven't received as much moisture, and the timber fuels and even sagebrush fuel moistures continue to decline. As we look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, which takes us through the middle of the month, we'll likely see near to below normal temperatures across much of the Great Basin, with the exception of Idaho, and also increased amounts of precipitation, especially over the eastern half of the Great Basin. That concludes the briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us or you can follow us on Twitter. Thank you for listening.